Welcome everybody. My name is Bodo Sieber. I'm the CEO of Tagmarshal, and I am today joined for an expert session on how Calusa Pines and Boca West Country Club use technology to create exceptional member experiences and operate more efficiently. And my expert guests today are JR Friend, who's the Director of Golf at Boca West Country Club over in West Palm Beach. JR, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Glad to be here. Michael Balliet on the other coast at Calusa Pines over in Naples. Welcome, Michael, and thank you guys for making yourselves available.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
A quick shout out to the South Florida PGA section, who has helped us rustle up some entries here. So I think we're close to 100 people who have registered, which is fantastic. Thanks, Jackie and the team. We do appreciate your help in this as our partners. But let me jump in and hand over to my guests. So if you wouldn't mind, in no particular order, but seeing that we read from the left, JR, won't you do a quick introduction on your facility that is well known and yourself as well?
Well, good morning, everybody. My name is JR Friend. I'm the Director of Golf here at Boca West. I've been at Boca West. This will be my 30th year at Boca West. So I've kind of gone through a lot of transitions here. We do about 115 to 120,000 rounds a year on 4 golf courses. On a busy day, we'll have about 700 rounds on any particular day. We have 250 fleet carts and over 400 private carts on our property.
That is a country in its own almost, right?
It feels like it sometimes, yes.
And we've got our other guest, Michael. Your operation looks quite different. Won't you give us a pleasure of a quick intro of yourself and Calusa Pines?
Yes, it is a big difference here at Calusa Pines. My name is Mike Balliet. I'm the Director of Golf here. This is my 16th season at Calusa Pines. We are an 18-hole private course doing about 15,000 rounds a year. 90% of our rounds is walking rounds with caddies, and about 55 to 60% guest play here. So it is a total opposite of Boca West. It shows a unique difference between the two clubs this seminar or webinar today.
Yeah, that's something I'm really excited about. Tell us about the photos. What are we looking at here? Were they aptly chosen?
Yeah, that happens to be Fazio 2, the 18th green.
Nice.
That's nice. That's our 8th green, drivable par 4. A lot of fun. Good hole.
Michael, Calusa Pines ranks in the top 100 on Golf Digest, doesn't it?
We do, yes. Yeah, we're top 100 in Golf Digest, Golf Week, and Golf Magazine.
Okay, right across. And,
rightfully so.
And yeah, well deserved. A lot of effort goes into that. Okay, so just a quick introduction on ourselves. We're Tagmarshal. We are a golf course optimization technology. This is our year number 6. This year feels like it was 3 years for some obscure reason. And I'm probably grayed, but you guys can't see that because I don't have any hair. 15 million rounds is what we've tracked and improved. And obviously that escalates and grows annually as we grow. We've got way more than 1 billion data points collected, and that's important to us because we're a data company and we learn from data. And there's about 300 courses that use our solution to optimize. Yeah, so here's Calusa Pines and Boca West. The top row here is some sort of well-known private clubs that work with our system. And then we also have the other end of the industry, which is your daily fee / resort. So there's some really nice well-known names here, both in the US, but also overseas. So here's Carnoustie, which is next door to St. Andrews. Then we've got Ballybunion, which is one of those highlight courses in Ireland, and obviously Le National in France. I was talking to Michael and JR as we started. We had a webinar last night with Whistling Straits. So they told us that they're very excited about the Ryder Cup's postponement, and that didn't have to be cancelled, and they're looking forward to welcoming many guests up to Wisconsin. So that was a good news, and obviously also had exciting things to tell us about how they operate. So we do have a number of corporations and partnerships also with associations and organizations, and one of those is the South Florida PGA section that you guys are all members of. So what we want to talk about today is a couple of key points. So we want to look at, if we're talking about experience, we need to understand what are the experiences that matter to golfers, and also how do we quantify that. Then we want to look at how Calusa Pines and Boca West use technology to create better experiences for their members, and what impact has technology had and does it have on efficiency, because that's always a topic with labor hours being costly and cost bases rising on that end. How can we do things smarter? And then lastly, how does that translate into those cost savings and help the operations grow? Because there's always a business end that we're obviously trying to support. So let's jump in. What I would like to do, and I will give you the mic in just a second there, Michael and JR, but it's always fun to read the room a little bit in what do you guys think are key player experience factors. So I'm going to launch a poll for you. And you can pick 3. So what do you think in your experience, and also based on what your members keep telling you, what are the key experience factors? Think about yourself as a player and as an operator. If you want to just push a few buttons here, you can pick 3 out of this poll. That might be course design, course conditioning, clubhouse and amenities, pace and flow of play, and playing partners in a group. If you want to hit the button here. I know that you guys have done a lot of voting of late. This one is very immediate and no mail-in required. Yeah, here we go. Accessibility, tee times availability, and cost and value obviously is a big magic thing to consider. Not so much in the private club space, even though obviously costs and membership value come into play here. Okay, I'm going to just end the poll. We don't need too much. We just want an indication. For those of you who want to do another few clicks here, feel free. And then we're going to ask Michael and JR what you guys think of our outcomes. Okay, end poll. You guys haven't seen that, so I'm going to share it. It's red and blue, which is totally coincidental. Okay. Can you guys see the results here? Michael, JR, what is your sense? And there are probably no surprises here.
No.
Go ahead, Michael.
Those top 2, yeah, the 2 that are popular there are the 2 I was going to say, along with the accessibility and tee time availability on our end.
And at our private facility as well, same course conditioning, pace and flow of play, and accessibility and tee time availability. Those are especially the private country club. Those are the 3 things I think most members are looking for. Obviously clubhouse amenities are an important aspect of it, but when you're talking about people on the golf course, those are definitely the 3 keys. In our
course design, everyone, you can't change course design too much. It is what it is. So that's something you can't really affect too much, but the other ones you can work on and make them better and better each year.
No, that's a very good point, Michael. You are 100% on track alongside what the USGA and also other associations have ascertained with broad range research into the golf space. So they did a 25,000 people survey, and there's the 25,000 is probably not chosen by chance because there's 25 million regular golfers, so it's a percentage of that, and they found exactly that. So 82% have said course conditioning that shines top is the most important experience factor, but very close to that is pace and flow of play, and the time it takes to play. And then somewhere around there also is accessibility. Can I get to the course, and can I get around in? Because if you have these 2 things ticked off, then obviously that course is attractive, right? So there's demand on it, and then I want to be able to play. So that all comes in. That all comes into play. So you're spot on, no surprises. what has been interesting is that last year there was another set of research that was published where two researchers from the University of Wisconsin start, one of whom is Christina Schoonover, and Professor Schoonover wears the hat of a researcher as a professor, but also she is a director of operations at Erin Hills. So she knows golf intrinsically, and she knows experience design and the science behind that. So they went and did extensive research, and they looked at 1,000 touch points in the golfer experience, because the USGA said, well, if we want to improve the golfer experience so we can attract more players, we want to be able to quantify it. We need to know what matters really. And they found something really interesting in that, yes, the conditioning ranks really high, but when it comes down to the frustration factor or the delight factor of all of these little experiences that happen, including driving through the gate and being welcomed, or are there ball washers, or is there good signage, is the staff friendly, all of those things matter somewhere. But what rises to the top is positive ranger etiquette. So the marshal knows how to address me and doesn't just say, hey, get on with it, grumpy, and you're slow. That is top. Who would have thought that out of 1,000 things that you can throw at a golfer, this comes out as the thing that most delights them, probably because it's so unexpected. Okay, green and open tees are important. Overall playing speed's important. Obviously conditioning and a few other things. And then the polar opposite end is what the most frustrating portion for players is: corrective pace of play actions. Somebody coming over and saying, "Hey, you're slow." But the conundrum is that other speed, if other people hold me up, that's also super frustrating for me. So these are the most polar things out of 1,000 touch points. And it's a huge conundrum, right? Because the golfers are asking us to please manage the space, but they're telling us to do it nicely, and they're not wanting to be corrected. So how do you now manage this? So are you guys surprised at all that that golfers would be so emotional about this very topic and not highlight other things in terms of their frustrations and delighters around what a round of golf gives them?
I think it definitely is one of the most spoken about in the golf shop after a round. Is if you did have a 4.5, 5 hour round, they're coming to the shop right away to voice their disconcern, and it definitely is a hot topic on a golf course these days.
Absolutely agree. That is always been here. The hot topic is pace of play. We actually have a pace of play. If you play too fast, we ask you to slow down. If you play too slow, we ask you to speed up. So trying to find that perfect medium, you're going to have some groups out there that love that you've talked to a group, because all the groups behind want you to talk to them, but that group who you've spoken to are going to come in and say, why did you speak to me? So yes, I can see both of those topics being both hot buttons, a happy button and a very unhappy button at the same time.
Definitely. It can be a very uncomfortable meeting with a member out on the course if one of the slower groups. So it's a touchy situation. It definitely is.
Yeah, and that's where we've obviously found a place for technology. It helps take that motion out of the space, right? If you have information, then you can have a facts-based conversation, and it's not opinion-based. But we're going to talk about this in just a minute. There's one more thing I wanted to add. There's another set of research which comes from Players First, which some of you might know. They do post-round surveys and basically checking in on people's sentiments. And there's a whole long list of questions that get asked, and they actually have a really high response rate, which obviously gives the club a lot to work with in terms of are we doing well or not. And they found that there are a few key indicators and a few key things that we need to do well as operators. We need to make sure players are being made to feel welcome. There needs to be good flow out on the course, and ideally we want to meet on-course staff. So if you meet somebody out there and it's a good positive interaction, that skyrockets what they call the Net Promoter Score. And the Net Promoter Score, you would know, is the good old question of would you recommend this service or product or this golf club to your friends and peers out of 10? And anything that's ranked 7 to 10 is positive net promotion. So this is what happens here. And anything that's ranked 0 to 3 is negative. You would say, no, it was horrible. I didn't like it. Not going to go back. Anything that's between 4 and 6 sort of is forgettable, sort of medium average, and nobody wants average. And they also find if we don't do these things well, then it drops rock bottom very quickly. And that's where exactly, obviously your clubs are phenomenal in terms of their hospitality and you've got excellent staff, but you need to make sure that that beautiful condition course gets presented well and it gets managed well. And you've got people out there as well that have these positive interactions with the people because they spend so much time out on the course, right? And it doesn't take much, maybe 1 or 2 touch points. But that is interesting that another set of research has come in that also adds to this. And if probably in your own experience, obviously you, and I do hope that you get to play golf here or there. I know the sure way of playing less golf is starting to work in golf. But would you say that this is how you experience a good experience at a club that you maybe go to for the first time or that you go to often? If those things are ticked off, that's when it was successful for you.
Yes, it's very important that all 3 of those factors there, just to make that golf experience the best it can be at whatever course you go to. They're all very important.
No question. And I'll kind of divert a little bit. I had the privilege of playing Pebble Beach a few years ago, and they have Tagmarshal there. Prior to us actually getting the system, we went out there and talked to the pro, and we actually were able to play. And on the second, we played the second hole, we get to the 3rd tee, and there's a gentleman there with an iPad and telling us that the group in front of us is a little slow. He has talked to them, and just the way he approached us, the way he spoke to us, the way he kind of showed us the technology information, it came across as so well-spoken and so easy. That was really kind of one of the big reasons that we kind of bought into this. If Pebble Beach can use it and they do it, and as many rounds as they have, and they're able to handle that mass of people and get them around the golf course, there's something right with this system. And again, not to keep promoting Tagmarshal, but that's exactly what we envision this system to do for us, is to take kind of that personal touch out of it a little bit. The person can talk to them and explain to them, show them where they are on pace. And it kind of makes the conversation a whole lot easier than being a he said, she said. It kind of takes that variable out of it. So it's a very easy sell.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. And I think it's important that we just honor how important it is to the players, right? They want your team to have high competency, whatever your team provides to them. And that is one of those things. And if you can manage that space really well, that adds a lot to the experience. So let's jump into this first topic on Calusa Pines and Boca West. How do you use technology to create exceptional experiences for your members? And maybe if I can do just a quick introduction of how Tagmarshal works in this space. So at Michael's club at Calusa Pines, for instance, he mentioned they've got walkers and caddies. So here we would use our classic mobile tags, which is, I believe, what you guys are using, or our two-way units, which have got two-way communication functions. At a club that uses more card-based golf, we can either install a tracking unit or we can add a GPS screen that obviously has those two-way functions. And what these units do for us, they send geoposition information into our system, and our system then analyzes what's a traffic situation like, where are the big risk groups, how can, and visualizes it in a very intuitive way so that the core staff can immediately see and gets alerted if there's any challenges out there, and they well informed. And every group has got a lot of information that floats alongside, including who's in the group, what was their history like, how did they play the previous holes, even down to a profile on them if they play on a regular basis. So you would know they float in the faster range or they float in slower range. And obviously, once we have all this data, we can look at things like geofencing and heat mapping, course utilization, and a whole lot of exciting things that JR is going to talk a bit about. But the key is that we make sense of all these things that move on the course and then present it in an easy to use way to the course team. So what I would like to ask you, because we're not just, we want to talk a little bit beyond that, but what is important in terms of your experiences that you're providing? What are you known for, and why do your members rave about being a member at your facilities?
Go ahead, JR.
Well, I mean, obviously, we are a very large facility. So that our biggest selling point is you get 4 golf courses in one location. We have 6 restaurants. There's enough people here that you're not playing golf with the same person every day. There's multiple games, multiple things to do. There's so many activities here. So we are basically a resort, if you will, in a country club atmosphere. You can everything here except get gas. There is no gas station here, but we sell groceries. We do everything, get your nails done, get your hair done. We do it all here. So it's a one-stop shop. So we don't want the members to leave here as the goal. Once they get inside the gates, we want them to be here for everything that they do. So that for us is our biggest selling point. And anything we can do to help pace of play, course conditions, anything that kind of helps with that process, we are diving into and we are looking at, and that's exactly why we went the direction of Tagmarshal, because we want to be on top of pace of play and course conditions, and that's what the system allows us to do.
And at Calusa Pines, a very different world, like we said. What makes your experience so memorable?
Yeah, we don't have groceries here. We don't have nails getting done here. But it is a total different experience. And a lot of our members, it is more of a destination for a lot of our members, bringing clients down or bringing guests down from all over the country, maybe a couple days in our cabins on property, and just getting away from it all and just kind of just taking in all the Calusa Pines experience of just golf, camaraderie with their friends or their clients, and enjoying a nice round of golf and doing it at a great place to play is a huge factor, because a great experience is our pace of play here is 4 hours and 10 minutes. So it's not a lightning fast round of golf, but it's not slow, because we are walking. We want everyone to enjoy their walk out there. We don't want them running. And we think that makes the great experience is having that walking ability while it's a nice, comfortable walk, and just enjoying their time while they're here, because it is an escape for them coming here. It's almost like a little nirvana for them to come down and escape what's going on in the world and getting to play 27 holes, 36 holes a day, and just enjoying the atmosphere here.
When can we come over, Michael?
Yeah, no kidding. Where do I sign up?
It sounds brilliant.
South Africa.
Michael, sometimes we get asked, so if there's clubs like Cypress Point or Oakmont that do so few rounds, and maybe 10, 12,000, why would you care so much for the pace? But the answer is always, well, they, as much as you, want to ensure that every round is excellent, every single one. There is no surprises, and you want consistent excellence. It's probably much the same for you guys, which is why you're putting such an emphasis on it.
Yeah, it is to have that consistency, and hopefully make it better and better each time they come down is our goal is, and just making them want to come a little bit more. Maybe they only came a couple times last year, but they had such great time. They want to try to double that this year, maybe come 4 times this season. And so it is just a huge factor in making their experience here better and better each time they come.
I think incremental improvement is a key word, right? Like, you're not going to be twice as good tomorrow, but if you every day, every week, every month get a little bit better, at the end of the season or over the course of 2 seasons, you've improved drastically. And I think we can look at some of this data when we look at your efficiency as well. So Michael, just staying with you. So this is what Calusa Pines looks like with technology activated, if you will.
Looks like a busy day.
Yeah, and what can you see out? how would you explain, what does that look like for you? I mean, it's second nature now. You check this often. What is your staffing contingent like? How do you guys interact with the system, and how does it help you?
Well, we have on all our PCs in the golf shop here, and on all my guys' phones, they have this app, the app for Tagmarshal, and so we're always keeping an eye on it. We always got one eye on it and one eye on the other things going on, whether it's keeping an eye on the golf shop or going out and playing with some members or giving a lesson. Someone always has an eye on this map here, and right away you see. I mean, that's a really busy day for us. That's got to be a February day, I think, but it looks pretty good. I mean, right away you see the big number 8 pop out. We can see that there might be a little bit behind there. Although there is a group in 17 fairway, so they're actually not that far behind. So it looks like everyone's pretty well spaced out right there. That looks like a good map for a very busy day at Calusa Pines. I'd be happy with that map.
I think just to add a little bit to the colors. So this number 8 here is the system has identified as a group that's out of position and delaying another group. So if you want to go and manage and keep an eye that this is where you want to start, and then the group behind them, they're a bit out of position, but it's not their fault. That's why they're orange. And then over here, there's a group number 5 that's a bit out of position, but they're red, so that means they're not impacting anyone, and you're probably not going to worry too much about it. Also, they're on their way out. They're on the 18th. So from your point of view, do you remember a time when you didn't have a system and you didn't have the line of sight? And I've had people say, well, it's like working with a paper map and then getting Google Maps. It's like a complete, or Waze, it's a completely different world. Do you remember what it was like before, and how has it helped you be more efficient in terms of your staffing and be more accurate?
Before, we would have to assign a guy to just keep circling around the course on a day like this. He'd have a clipboard in his hand with a chart of timing on when someone teed off. It would tell them which hole they should be on at a certain time, and we just keep circling around the course on a day like this. We've got binoculars in the golf shop, kind of keeping an eye on things from there. And so we were losing a staff member to just circle around the course, just to make sure no one slipped behind, kept a good pace of play. And so it's helped us tremendously in that regards, where we don't have to send that extra body to go out on the course and just circle around, or just post somewhere in a spot and make sure everyone's passing through that spot at the right time and there's no gaps behind the group. They're not falling a hole or so behind. So it in that regard, it's helped us immensely. I mean, it's been so helpful for us.
And Michael, last question for you. So the interactions that your team can now have with literally this map in hand and this information, they might say, well, I've seen that you dropped out of position for the last 2 holes. You probably lost the ball. How would they now address the players? And has it changed the way that they can interact? And obviously, confrontation is something that you want to take out of it. Opinion is something you want to take out of the space. How has that been, and have the team adopted, and are they buying into it from as far as you can see?
Yeah, it's been 3 seasons for us here. All our members know we have this, so it's made for a much more comfortable approach of a person. More times than not, if one of my guys are driving out to talk to the group, the member will say, before he even gets there, we're out of position, aren't we? And so it's made it so much easier. And if they don't know, we can show them on our phone, or on the we also have the little iPads or tablets, and just to show them where they are. We got the facts don't lie, and so they take it in stride. They understand they're a little slow, and 99% of the time they close that gap in front of them. And so
sure.
It's been huge to avoid any awkward confrontation. It really has. Yeah. I don't think we've had one since.
Information is really a game changer, right? Because we've seen earlier with this research how emotional this topic can be. And I think you mentioned what is a bit of a magic word there, Michael. You guys, when they address the players, they would not go up and say, hey guys, you're slow, pick it up. They would say you're a little bit out of position, which is a much easier thing for people to understand, because a slow player that's an insult to many golfers. Like, they don't want to hear that, right? But if you say you're a bit out of position, that is something I can now quantify, I can understand. Okay, I'm here, you want me to be 300 yards ahead? No problem, I'll help you out. JR, from your side, I know that last season you've put a lot of emphasis on understanding how your course runs, understanding the flow. What have you guys done, and how's it worked for you?
Yeah, so obviously we're totally different, and because we have so many private carts on property, and it's not just one manufacturer. You know, everybody, we have Western and Club Car and Easy Go and some Yamaha. So to find a company that we can kind of work with that can help us adapt to all those private carts. So we've basically, last year, we just kind of basically dipped our toe in the water, so to speak. We got a handful of tags, and for us, we kind of let the membership know that Big Brother's kind of watching, is the best way to describe it. We let them know we have some tags. If there's some groups who are continuously slow play, we are going to put a tag on that group, and we're going to monitor their pace. So we were able to kind of analyze the slow groups and see what we can do and find ways to help them pick up the pace. And it was amazing for us that when you put a little GPS tag on them and you said we're watching them, their pace of play miraculously got better. They played faster. The enjoyment of the round for everybody else behind them got better. So I hate to say that we use it as a deterrent, but again, we really wanted to kind of see how the technology worked before we invested on 700 carts on property. So we're able to kind of take that technology and show and prove to our golf committee and the budget committee that this is something that we can use and use it in a productive way. Usually basically kind of the behind the scenes. It was really the technology portion that we wanted to use, not the screen yet, but we want to see the back of the house information, because for us, this large of an operation, we want to see what the back of the house stuff is, because that's truly for us the most important part of it.
So we're talking about data and really having the edge on information, right? And here's one of our stat screens that looks at performance over time, down to performance on a single day, down to each individual tee time. How do your holes perform? Are there any choke points, choke holes that you need to be aware of? Maybe you've tried a different setup and it's upset your flow a bit. You would understand that. And then down here, we're not just looking at average round times, because that really is a very flat view that hides a lot of the slow rounds, because obviously there's fast rounds, there's twosomes and what have you, that in the average would hide away the bad stuff. But here you can really see these are groups that are on pace within 10 minutes, 20, 30, 40, whatever it is. And that is a benchmark that a manager can then say, okay, guys, we're going to do this better. For the next month, let's work on a 5-10% improvement. And it's amazing how quickly, once you put the attention on it, and once you have got a tool to really help you also measure and quantify, and there's attention by the team and also attention by the players, how quickly things improve. I want to just jump ahead, JR, because you have now this year been faced with a very different challenge in that COVID-19 has made single riders mandatory, and you found yourself managing a huge amount of traffic, and your superintendent is getting a bit worried because you've got these beautiful courses that you need to make sure will go the season, right? So what is it that you've done this season?
Yeah, so what we've done, we've added 20 more tags. Now we have enough tags. We're almost at 50 now, and we're going to continue to keep adding tags as we move forward. And what we've done is, because everybody's on a single rider cart, when I'm doing 700 players during season, when you forecast that 700 golf carts possibly on a golf course or on 4 golf courses, that is double the wear and tear on a golf course. We are in our dormant season. The grass doesn't want to grow. So it definitely puts a lot of strain and stress on the golf course. So now we have kind of taken these tags and we've kind of changed gears. Pace of play is not an issue. We're playing golf in 3 hours, 3.5 hours with 4 people driving in a golf cart. And I'm sure everybody knows private cars now they go fast. They go 20 miles an hour. So these guys are, ripping around the golf course. So again, pace of play isn't the issue. It's now where they're driving. So now we've kind of put out, 90-degree rule. Once you stay on the cart path as much as possible, cross over your golf ball. And now we're kind of changing the philosophy of the tag is if somebody's not following the 90-degree rule, now they're going to get a tag and say, we're going to monitor where you're driving on the golf course. And now we're going to see where you're driving. If you continually, drive improperly, then we're going to keep having discussions on where you drive. The superintendent is now able to use that hot spot map or the heat map. And obviously we know, as shows on the screen now, you see that's actually course 3, hole 2. And you see that's basically a cart path it's really hot. But in the middle of the fairway, that happens to be a high spot. But if you go and you look along the cart path right there to just before the water, that is where every golf cart comes off the fairway and onto the cart path. That is continually an area of concern for us. So now the superintendent can take a look at this heat map, this hot spot area. And now if we have to change and put some ropes up, obviously at a private country club, ropes are not your friend. It just doesn't give a good look. But in this time of year and with the stress we're going to get on the golf courses, now the superintendent can go out and rope off areas. And if we have to make a particular whole cart path only for a day or two to try to help some of the recovery, this map, this technology, and using these GPS are really going to help us kind of curtail any of those people who are deciding that driving down the middle of fairway is the best way to go. We want them to stay on the cart path as much as possible.
What I think is great is how you really have empowered your superintendent now to dig a little bit deeper and counter what is going to become an issue, right? Or hopefully, it needs management. It needs attention. We have done an extensive study at one of your neighbors' clubs down at Craner Golf, and they were looking for a way to reduce their irrigation cost because it's a big bill for the city. So they also used the heat mapping, and then together with a course designer, they went and looked for ways to trim certain areas. So, but what they were tracking is not the cart movement, but they were literally tracking the player movement, much like Michael does at Calusa Pines, just to find out where do people go, where don't they go, and if there's areas where nobody goes, why do we need to put as much attention, fertilizer, irrigation onto these areas, and can we not adjust them and save money? And it's been amazingly successful. So this is where data and information really changes the game for you and helps you control your space so much better. So yeah, well done to you and the team for digging into the side of the system. Just to make sure that we are staying on time and also have a bit of time for a few questions. So from your point of view, how does this translate into cost savings and enhanced growth? I know revenue is not an immediate goal necessarily at a facility such as yours. What would you say, Michael, in terms of an investment? Is the experience worth investing in? That's a loaded question. And how do you see this working in terms of savings and making it work for your budget and so on?
Like you said, not a revenue isn't the bottom line for this. It's more the experience everyone has when they come to Calusa Pines. It does help. Like I said, we used to have one guy circle around the course all day, which now is not needed. So now we have that extra body to help with any member service we need, or if I like getting my guys out to play with members too, because it helps us become more, learn more a bit about our members, and also helps with camaraderie between members and staff, which I think is a huge factor here. So instead of that guy driving around the course, he can go out and play with a couple members and get to know them and build a nice relationship with them. And also whether he might be able to give some lessons to someone now that he doesn't have to circle around the course. So in that regard, it's been huge. And just like I said, the long-term investment would be a better experience here. Instead of them coming down 2 or 3 times a year, now that they're having such a great time when they get here, the pace of play has been great. The experience is off the charts now, and they want to come 6 or 7 times a year now instead of just 3. So all those bundled up is what really makes Tagmarshal so important to us here.
Thanks, Michael. So what we would see at another club that's maybe a bit busier or has got a bigger staff contingent, often they would say, well, similar, we can now control this from the clubhouse. We don't need to have somebody out all the time. And if they had a traditional marshalling role, well, if this person is a great person to have on your team, well, find higher value tasks for them to do. And if you can trim your budgets a bit, and maybe this year with COVID, we needed to do things with less people and less touch points. So that's where technology is certainly helpful. And from your side, JR, does it make dollars and cents for you? And how are you getting value as far as your budget and your investments concerned?
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
JR, sorry, I think you were muted there. Sorry, let me just. But trigger happy. Try again.
How about that? Now, can you hear me?
There you go. Yes, my bad. Go ahead.
No worries. So obviously, we've kind of got our foot in the water right now. We don't have tags on all 700 golf carts. Again, with all the private carts, it'd be tough for us to, you can't go with a system without giving them some features and benefits. So we hope long term that Tagmarshal will be on all 700 of our golf carts, with the option that a private cart would have the ability to have a screen on it, and they would get all the benefits, and they could choose whether they want the screen or not, but we would get all the back of the house information. So that's our long-term goal, is to show the membership and show the benefits that we're receiving so far. And so this is really kind of a key season for us to show what this technology can do for us, so that we can sell it to the membership and show what benefits they can get out of it. Obviously the wear and tear, obviously intelligent superintendent, which you see on the screen, obviously maintenance savings. If they can keep some areas healthier and they don't have to resod areas or do some extra work to it, obviously the tangible results and benefits, again, are still yet to be seen in our arena so far. But I can tell you what we've done so far. The membership has really taken kind of ownership in it. It's amazing that when we tell a member we're going to give them a GPS tag and monitor where they're driving, it's been a pretty easy sell. They've taken it very well. They understand the importance of driving where they're supposed to, and they've taken ownership to it. So it's been a great start to our season with this, and it was a great start last season with the other avenue we took. So I think it'd be very hard to say what the benefits are so soon for us, because we don't have all the tags. But I can tell you our future and our relationship with Tagmarshal is only going to continue as we go along here, because the end goal would be to have every golf cart here have some sort of device on it with the ability to have a screen on if they choose, so they can get the front of the house technology for them and the back of the house information for us.
Sure, we need to keep in mind that any decision that you take across such a massive fleet has got a lot of zeros on your budget item, right? So it's something you need to build into. At a regular club that we might be working with that's got 65 carts, and that is often a decision that gets taken in one committee meeting, and boom, we'll just do it, right? And they have then the full feature set and full sets of benefits. And sometimes the question that at that scale that the club is asking themselves is, well, if we have another $900 or $1,200 a month, what else can we do that has this sort of impact on our operation, right? If I had another $1,200 a month, if I added additional staffing hours, what impact would that have? If I added a little bit of money to my conditioning and maintenance pool, what impact would it's negligible. But if you use it for optimization, it empowers everything else, and it makes a huge and immediate and tangible difference. And you guys have done it smartly from a budget point of view. But we're here for the long run. I mean, this is our season number 6. And we have grown with many of the management groups as well, where they're saying, well, we want to see this work at 2, and all of a sudden a year later they put it at 10. So we'll be here, and it's fantastic how you are digging into it. And gents, thank you so much before we jump into some questions that we might get, let's do one more poll. If you'll humor me, you can use the Q&A function or you can use the chat function. Let me just jump into the poll. So our question is, where are we? Poll number 2. Where do you think data and optimization could make the biggest impact on your course? And enhancing the player experience, increasing member loyalty, improved labor efficiencies. If you had optimization and data available, where would it make the most sense for you? Superintendent maintenance savings, data empowered management, and processes and staff. So you're empowering your team. If you want to do us a quick favor and vote. Oh, there's an echo in my voice. Okay, let me see if I can fix that. My bad.
I tried to vote, it wouldn't let me.
Okay, Natalie, you told me there's an echo. Is there still an echo?
A little bit.
Okay, let me see if I can adjust. Okay, let me just end the poll and share results, and you're going to have to just bear with me. I wouldn't know how to fix this. Okay, here's what people are saying. Enhanced player experiences comes out top. Data empowered management and processes and staff. And that probably results in increased member loyalty and superintendent maintenance savings. Always interesting because that's such a huge budget pool. So this is quite a nice result. So if there are any questions that you might have for JR and Michael, then please post them, and then I don't have to talk either with my weird echo. Okay, let me just jump ahead. If there's anything else you'd like to mention, JR or Michael, feel free. Like, I guess the obvious question is, what we often get asked, would you recommend this to others in the industry? And also, what's the service levels like? And is the Tagmarshal team good to work with?
Yeah.
First and foremost, if anybody has any questions about how we're using it, they're more than happy. Please call me. I'll be more than happy to talk about it with them in depth if they choose to. We currently love what Tagmarshal is providing for us, and to say the team is nice and helpful and supportive is an understatement. They've been fantastic. Anytime we've asked a question, they've been on it to help us. So the back of the house, the management team, everybody who works for Tagmarshal has been nothing but fantastic. So with that being said, again, I'm available. You can call me anytime. Call the office, and I'm more than happy to talk to you about Tagmarshal above and beyond if you'd like.
They've been great. The staff has been great, even though you got to adjust to the time difference from everyone over in South Africa to here. But they always respond real quick to emails, and it's just been a great experience. I mean, it's helped us tremendously here. Not only with just pace of play out there, but being at a club that doesn't have tee times here, it can get a little busy here at the first tee in season. So not only we can find gaps out on the course, and we can plug people into a hole, maybe a 7th or 8th hole. We see a gap out there. It just there's just so many features that it has, and we don't even use all the bells and whistles that Tagmarshal has to offer. I mean, there's just so much that this product can do. I mean, we just use kind of the bare bones here at Calusa because we're a little smaller operation, not as many rounds, and so. But I highly recommend it to any club in the area. Really do.
Thanks, gents. I've got one question that's come through. We currently have GPS and get cart locations. How is this system different? I think if I can just field that quickly. So like I've explained, so we have put quite a lot of emphasis into making sense of how these locations get displayed and how the risk is calculated, and we go above and beyond what anybody else is doing in the business as far as what we can do with this information, and also how the system collects data and really empowers the teams to make better decisions. So I think the optimization side and how the information gets displayed is the main difference to a GPS system that might be out in the market. Michael, I might add that our team has grown quite a lot also in our Atlanta setup. And we do have a local rep over in the Tampa region, Andy Hefner, I believe he's on this call, and obviously our US VP of Sales, Tom Cox, wouldn't miss it. So we've got a very capable and fantastic team over in the States, but we do have the international flair and weird accents. So you get the best of all worlds. Let me just see if there's any other questions. Okay, there's one question. Pace of play at our course has been great during COVID with single riders and so on. We've been running about 15 minutes quicker. That's anecdotally what you're saying as well, JR. What I'm worried about is flow issues. Basically, if there's a stop and people get held up, how does the system help prevent flow problems rather than just from a pace point of view, but the flow side of things? Maybe JR, I know that this is something you dug in quite a lot last year. Michael, we looked at your map, so I think that probably summed it up in terms of exactly where the flow issues are as they arise, and then you would go and have an intervention even before it becomes an issue, before you get those phone calls to the clubhouse. I think that's where flow is actually more important than pace, because a lot of people are very happy if their round takes 10 minutes longer, but they don't want any stop starts. They don't want to be held up. They want those open tees. And if you can provide that space, that's really the game changer. I think, those were great questions. Gents, thank you so much for giving us off your time.
Thank you.
We know you're about to get really busy. So best of luck for the season. Hopefully, you're getting a little bit of a break still in 2020, because 2021 is going to be full of growth and busy and very different to what this year has been, touching wood. Gents, really, really appreciate you making yourselves available.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and thanks again to the team at South Florida PGA and to everyone who's attended and asked these good questions. If you would like to reach out to our team, check out our website, tagmarshal.com. You can go and do a demo, or you can call JI. He's going to tell you his version. Absolutely. And we do have a fantastic offer at the moment. If you're interested in also short-term coming on board, you're more than welcome to. We've got a 2-month free and some immense value. So it does make a lot of sense to invest. If it's something you consider, you might as well do it. Okay, thanks everyone. Much appreciated. Have a fantastic rest of the week.